has scored in his last 7 league appearances, leading the line with the captain's armband tonight after scoring the equalizer in a rare reserve appearance earlier this week. And then also they have altered their formation to go back into their normal 3-4-3 setup. So that's your look at Toronto's 11. It is pretty much their full strength lineup, or the best lineup they can field. And Brandon Cervania enters for his first start since tearing his ACL last September with the first team. Now, flipping the page to Matt Pilkington's squad, there are less changes, just 3 to be precise. Up front, Taylor Calera returns into a more center forward role, and Maximo Carrizo returning after a brief 2-match absence. The big absence for Toronto tonight, Jonathan Jimenez, not in the 11 tonight. He did not travel with the team, according to Matt Pilkington, so he will not feature today for the boys in blue. Well, we are just about set to get underway here from York Lions Stadium in Toronto, Canada, north of the Canadian border. Toronto in the red with white numbers. Meanwhile, the visiting New York side, the navy blue with white numbers. Product who began his career at IPFW before finishing his time with the Orange last fall. He latches onto it now. Darts to the byline. It's floated towards Altobelli. Got his first proper look at things, but Alex Rando equal to it. Ayari, Edwards again, and the flag was raised on the far side. There's time and space for Ayari. Lays it off to Edwards. Red shirts in support. Edwards from afar, and it drew Rando into action. Number 95, an active presence on the far flank at that wingback spot. And it is a loose touch that took it to Stojadinovic. Elias. A break forward, man down in the area, and the referee immediately points to the spot. Chris Teo undercut, and New York with an opportunity from 12 yards. A costly miscue, a great underlap from Teo. And you see the boot dangle. It was Marko Stojadinovic who was late to challenge, and there was no hesitation from the lead official, Carly Shaw McLaren. Samuel Lewusu will step up from 12 yards. A huge chance for New York to give themselves an early advantage. The first test of Abe Rodriguez comes at a major moment. It is Owusu, one of the go-to penalty takers for this New York side. A perfect 7 of 7 in shootouts this season. It is center back against goalkeeper. And Owusu skies it! Costly. Most informed forwards in MLS Next Pro. It's taken short, a training ground routine, and one that nearly beat Rando. Charlie Staniland trying from afar, and Rando definitely saw it late. It's clever here. A dummy played, Staniland rushing onto it on the strong right foot, and he nearly picked out that top corner. Crafty from Gianni Cimini and company. Same routine, Staniland this time skying it. New York far more attuned to it that time around. Well, you hear the loud instructions from both coaches on the touchline. A pair of third-year coaches appointed before their respective teams' inaugural Next Pro campaigns. One combined playoff appearance between both of them, despite the well-regarded CVs of both. They're established veterans at their clubs. Ayari breaking ahead, it cuts across and tapped in. Mark Fisher opening the scoring for Toronto, and against the grain, the Reds in front. A missed penalty on one end, and Toronto putting New York to the sword on the other. Ayari, so many good moments on this far flank. The cross just... And now it's won back by Ayari. Numbers for Toronto. Ayari, it's loose for Altobelli. It's two in quick succession. Toronto red hot up in the six. An errant back pass, fumbled by Leong. Ayari shot deflected, but Altobelli there to cap it. In Toronto, Ontario, Canada, on the campus of York University in Toronto. As Toronto breaks again, it's nearly trickled in. Altobelli just whistling it beyond the near post. Bednarski. Final 10 minutes of this first half. This is Aravalo, the bright bulb, lays it off for Elias. It's a low driver into Rodriguez's gloves. Goal off a counter, another off of an errant back pass situation. They switch the play now for Nate Edwards. Ayari sprinting into space. Has a runner in support. Cutting it back for Altobelli, who's down in the box. It nearly went over the line anyways. Halftime whistle sounds. A pair of goals in as many minutes for Toronto make the difference at the end of a half of play. Mark Fisher and Julian Altobelli striking to separate the two sides. Who is replaced by Nicholas Kapanadze. That is an attack-minded change. So back underway here from Toronto. A lot of work to be done for New York. Charlie Stanyland vacating the action for Toronto. Here is Hassan Ayari. It was clever from Altobelli to find him. Ayari's through. A good stop by Rando. Lucas been around since the start of the 2015 season. They spent the bulk of their time in the USL ranks, be it the USL Pro or USL League One. Made the move to Next Pro ahead of its inaugural season, and as we mentioned in the first half, finished second in the East that inaugural campaign in Gianni Cimini's first year at the helm. Since then, it's been about retooling, and last year was definitely a regression. Here's the break forward for New York, and Rodriguez forced into action. Elias is looking ahead for the run of Locker. Falls for Calera and kisses it off the far post. Very promising opportunity. It's ushered to Calera. Has a clean lash at it. It did take a deflection though. In swinger from Aravalo. Cleared only as far as Kapanadze. Calera again. This time read to perfection by Olgwin. And how to play. So the two changes being readied for Toronto. Should be Andre Dumitru entering in the heart of midfield for Cervania. As well as Marcus Simermancic, a man who's returning from a prolonged injury absence and was told he'd play about 20 to 30 minutes today. He is set to replace Fisher on the wing. Those are the changes being readied by the Reds. Edwards looking to punctuate things. Cuts it back for Altobelli. Julian Altobelli! He drew the palm of Randell. Toronto nearly had the dagger. Not a lot of product in the final third, but the 16-year-old continuing to build up his minutes. Azam Ruiz, a man with 7 goals in 15 appearances with the club, was a proven goal scorer at Iona that has translated that very well at 23 years of age to the next pro ranks. All attack-minded alterations from Matt Pilkington. Altobelli hooking this towards the back post. Batiste headed it along. Rando a routine stop. The intent of both sides is clear. Toronto is trying to consolidate with their changes New York chasing after it. Calera latching onto the long ball. Flag stays down. It's still Taylor Calera. And out for a New York corner. Seemingly been deployed in center midfield. It seems that they've added an extra midfielder in the mix to make things more difficult. Arevalo is streaking ahead. Arevalo, an excellent stop by Rodriguez, who passes his first proper test with flying colors. New York's most informed forward bearing down on goal. It's very clever to take it inside. It's an excellent late palm from Rodriguez to draw the effort wide, though. Corner's now taken short. Arevalo unmarked. Kapanadze, and now Tiao hooking it in. Altobelli charging forward. Looking for Edwards, dashing cross. It found Altobelli's head, but he couldn't quite keep it down. Another rapid break, all off the boots of Altobelli. And this is a lovely cross from Nate Edwards. Has plenty of velocity and venom, but Altobelli just can't head it at the proper angle. He did have to adapt quickly. And Alex Rando, fortunate he didn't do in time. Elias. They've been knocking on the door, but have not gotten the playoff invite just yet. They are on the fringes of cracking through that glass ceiling, but the last 2-3 performances have left a bit to be desired, especially late. This is Nate Edwards, Altobelli. Linking well, Altobelli! A necessary last-ditch intervention from Haxeri. It has been Toronto the far better of the two sides in the final third. This cross from Tiao's not bad. It almost fell for Azam Ruiz, who's been a man on an island since entering the fray. Elias, Calera, snatched back by Simermancic. And now space for Edwards on the break. He's got a runner as well in support. Hassan Ayari is through! And it's just narrowly deflects beyond the far post. It was the intervention by Rando which paid the dividends. Toronto nearly put it on ice. Ayari, who's been so sensational on the break all afternoon, clattering it off the oncoming leg of Rando. And New York with the slimmest of lifelines still. It will be a corner for Toronto. Jesus Batiste standing over it. You're hearing word that 5 minutes of added time is our verdict by the fourth official. Cross arcs. Just misses Italo's run. We'll run it back from the opposite flank. For New York, if this is to hold, it would be 4 winless to begin September. And in 2 of those matches, they were on the brink of success. In swinging corner from Ayari this time. Cleared only as far as Stojadinovic. Beyond the 90 minutes. Just 5 separate us from full time. Edwards nearly managed to pop it loose and did. Simermancic laying it off. Dumitru, it's through for Ayari, and there's the goal that wraps up the points. Toronto putting it on ice late. 3-0 in stoppage time. The entirety of the Toronto front 3 striking this afternoon. Hassan Ayari, who was the architect of the first 2 goals with his runs forward, now rewarded on the score sheet. Splits the center backs to perfection. Rando gets a touch, but it's not enough. A 6th goal of the year from the former. And it's deflected out of play. That is our final involvement of the day. A masterclass on the break for Toronto FC 2. All 3 frontline starters